Well, most of us has most likely wondered about our heart health.
And millions of Americans are taking medicine in hopes of avoiding a heart attack or other cardiovascular problems. But a simple and relatively cheap test could get a lot of people off preventative pills. Susan-Elizabeth Littlefield shows us the 5-minute, relatively inexpensive test that is easing some minds.
Fried foods, exercise, good fat, bad fat, and cholesterol. That may be the biggest buzzword of all when it comes to heart health. One local cardiologist, though, says it may have been blown out of proportion.
It's very clear that it's your cholesterol, plus your blood pressure, plus your blood sugar, plus what you eat and how much you exercise and your stress level.
All things Kim Newman, former fast foodie and 30-year smoker, admits she never paid much attention to.
I felt okay, and I just I didn't do what I should have done.
Even though heart disease ran in her family, she tried to ignore the chest pressure she was feeling in June 2013. She finally went to the doctor.
Within 15 minutes, the EMTs were there taking me to Abbott Northwestern Heart Hospital. I was having a heart attack.
She survived, and now she lives completely differently. She's 70 pounds down.
And it's great eating salads.
It's a storyline 52-year-old Paula Nelson of Isanti is trying to avoid.
Well, my father had a heart attack at 70 and died. My mother just had triple bypass last month, and my niece is 33 and had a heart attack.
So she showed up to get a heart scan. Well-timed, if you ask Dr. Minema.
If your cholesterol is just kind of borderline elevated, or if your blood pressure is borderline elevated, if you have something that's worrying you and something that's increasing your risk a little bit, this test is kind of the ideal situation.
The test is not new. It's been around since the 90s, but the effectiveness of it is now coming to light. Dr. Minema was part of a study that says of the millions of Americans considering or taking cholesterol drugs, half of them probably don't need to take them because they won't ever have a heart attack.
It's really hard to prevent heart attacks that weren't going to happen in the first place. So that's a group that's going to do well, and they should just stick to lifestyle modifications.
He says even if you have high cholesterol or blood pressure, that does not mean you will have a heart attack in the next 5 years. The better indicator is how much plaque is in your arteries, something that can be spotted with a simple scan.
So you can see these little white deposits all the way along the artery. Those are little calcified plaques.
He recommends the scans every 5 years or so for people 40 plus like Paula who are considering daily meds and live in fear.
I want to make sure that if I'm going to kill over, again, I know about it ahead of time.
So she took the heart scan head on here at Abbott Northwestern Hospital. It's not insured. Total cost $100 and not much time.
You know what? Easy as pie. Simplest thing I did, a little nap, 5 minutes, we're done.
Hi Paula, it's Mike Minema.
Days later, her results are called in.
Throughout the heart, there was no evidence of any calcified plaque. Her total calcium score was a 0, meaning there's no plaque there. It's associated with a very, very low risk, around a 1% to 2% risk in most people. So it's a very low risk situation to the point where I don't think any preventive medications would be needed here.
It's perfect. I'm so excited.
And she's cleared to go full steam ahead in her new boot camp class.
It's a gift. Just feels so good to know that that's one less thing for me to be thinking about right now, and I can move on with my diet, my exercise, and not worry about that part of it.
5-minute scan of the heart, a 5-year peace of mind.
Dr. Minema says that heart medications can cause side effects, and that's why there is no point in being on them if you aren't likely to have a heart attack. To read about the study and find out more about heart scans, go to WCCO.com/links.